Okay, we're here with Donald, and Donald, why don't you introduce yourself for us?
How you doing? My name's Donald. I live in Woodbridge, New Jersey. I've been going on 4.5 months with my issues since the shot, and it's been pretty debilitating for me and my family.
Now, well, tell me a little bit about what life was like before before you
Before
took
all
the
this
shot.
started.
Yeah, how was your health?
Oh, I was very healthy. I was very active with my family. We were always on the go, a lot of hiking. I spent most of my life outdoors. We were very good at our eating and just trying to stay fit. My son plays a bunch of sports, and things have changed since then, unfortunately.
Well, tell me about those changes, but tell me, when you took the shot, what happened?
Well, immediately after I got the shot, I had a reaction. My body got flush, hot and cold. All my limbs got tingly. My head went numb, and I thought I was going to pass out. So I sat down for a while, started to feel a little bit better, went to get up to leave, made my way halfway out of the store, thought I was going to pass out again. Came back in and talked to the tech that had given me the shot. And she said, if you were going to have a reaction, it would have happened by now. I said, okay, I'm going to sit here for a few more minutes. I made it out to my truck and I thought I was going to pass out again, but I had to get home. So I drove to go home. About half an hour, started to feel a little bit better. And then it kind of went away. And I had went out to dinner with my family that night. 10 days later, the same thing happened to me when I was letting my dog out in the backyard. And I thought I was having a heart attack. Basically, the next day I had went to the doctors and they had given me a chest x-ray, blood work, and an EKG, and everything came back normal. Then I thought maybe I'm having a reaction like, anxiety is what he was thinking. Okay. I kept having this weight on my chest where when I laid down, I couldn't breathe. Couldn't sleep that night, went back to the doctor again the next day. Same thing. They gave me another EKG. Nothing. I said, well, something's wrong. I'm not imagining this. If it was stress or anxiety, it would have went away. It wouldn't be constant. Next day, go to the doctors, and then he called an ambulance. He said, you're going to the hospital because we think you have blood clots in your lungs. I said, well, that sounds terrible. So the ambulance takes me to the hospital. As soon as they start admitting me, they treat me as a COVID patient, even though I'd been tested at least a dozen times. I'm sitting in the hospital. They send me for a CAT scan of my chest with contrast. They give me extensive blood work. They give me another COVID test. They check all my vitals. I'm sitting in the hospital thinking I'm going to die because once they told me I had COVID, well, they're saying I had COVID and blood clots in my lungs. I'm thinking, that's it. I'm not leaving this hospital. So basically, after about 3 hours of sitting there, because it was jam-packed with people, because this is in the height of the whole COVID epidemic, they come back and say, your CAT scan's clear. Nothing in your lungs. And that your COVID test is clear, and that we checked your blood work, no heart attack. They couldn't figure out anything. He basically chalked it up to being GERD. And then they said, you can go home. But it didn't stop there. I constantly still had the tightness in my chest. After that, I went to a different doctor. Same thing. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. Now I've just recently seen what else have I gone to? I went to a cardiologist. I went to Deborah Heart and Lung Hospital, which is one of the best in the country. I actually had dealt with the head of their cardiology department. Same thing, she checked me. Then they gave me an echocardio stress test. Nothing. They gave me a Holter monitor for 2.5 weeks. They found nothing. And mind you, I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I could, with my heart pounding several times a night, and I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack and I can't figure out why. Right from my sleep, it's waking me up. So, obviously I'm concerned. After that, I just had an appointment with a neurologist. I'm set up for a standing open CAT scan. No, MRI. But he did some tests on me in his office and basically told me, I don't think I'm going to find anything. So
Why do you think he said that?
I think he said he has had people coming in with balance issues and such, but I guess because he did, my balance was not one of my issues more or less than severe tinnitus and dizziness and vision problems. I would have problems where I used to have very good eyesight. Like, I forgot what it was when I got tested last time, but now I'll look at something and I can't read a sign 20 feet away, which I never had before. I don't wear glasses, nothing. He basically said that because he did the balance test with me and where they hold your arms and legs and you stand up and do this and stand on one leg with your eye closed and all this stuff. Basically, he just, I guess there was nothing like outstanding to him that he would say, okay, there's something going on here. But he did say that he has people coming in with these type of things and they're not finding anything.
Have any of your doctors been willing to say?
One doctor I spoke to, I explained to him what's going on to me, and he was kind of like, oh, I could believe that a vaccine could cause this. He actually used me as an example, I guess, when somebody else, another patient had asked him if he should get vaccinated. And he used my situation as an example to him. Most of the doctors that I've come across, well, that's probably the only one that really has came to the conclusion that it could be from that. The other ones are kind of like, I don't really, it doesn't really sound like that's what it could be from.
And yet they don't they don't have any other diagnoses for you.
No.
Or why?
No, they can't tell you why, but they can't tell you why not when it comes to the vaccine. Basically. So I'm in the same boat as so many other people. I'm part of a Facebook group with a lot of people on it, more than one, with the same type of symptoms across all the vaccines, not just one or the other. And they're getting the same answers from doctors. Well, no, it's not that. It's anxiety. Even the tinnitus that I had very good hearing before this. I never had an issue before. Tinnitus comes on and I went to the audiologist and he said I have a mild hearing loss in both ears. Not enough for hearing aids. He said it's just below normal. I said, well, is that enough to give me screaming tinnitus in my ears? He said, I don't know. Basically, but he listened to me when I talked about the possibly being the vaccine, and he was more or less, well, yes and no. He didn't want to agree to it, but he didn't want to dismiss it. That seems to be most of the reaction I'm getting. But they keep telling me they're getting more people in with these things. So it has to be in their mind that something's going on. They just
you would think so, right? I mean, yes. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I was perfectly healthy before yes. I got the shot. Then I got the shot, and then all of a sudden, I have issues with my ears, my eyes, my tingling, my heart, or it feels that and it kind of seems like common sense, but I think yeah, somehow we're missing the common part of common sense these days. But so how is your life, your regular life, how has it changed? I mean, how is it affecting your everyday life today? How is it different than it was before the shot?
Oh, my life is completely different. It's not even, I tell my wife every day, I feel like I'm living someone else's life. I just to wake up in the morning, the first 2 minutes that you're awake, your tinnitus kicks in. And you think to yourself, you remember that you have it. And every day is just a letdown and just discouraging every time you wake up and you're like, it's still here. I can't go to my son's hockey games because I can't be around groups of people because of loud noises. I'm struggling through my work days at work because I work in an area where I have to do a lot of walking and a lot of carrying things, and physically I can't do it. I'm getting out of breath after I walk 20 feet to where I used to go hiking all the time. I was very physically fit. I have to wear these earmuffs when I drive in my car or when I cook because my ears are so sensitive to the sound around me that it's actually like nails on a chalkboard. I have to wear earplugs when I take a shower because the sound of the water is like sizzling in my ears. It's horrible. And then the breathing, depending on the weather, has a lot to do with it also. I'll get out of breath and my chest will hurt the entire day and I feel like I can't catch my breath. It's completely different. It's turned my life so upside down. It's like I haven't been left with no way to cope. A lot of times, if you had, let's say, a mental problem, like headaches or something like that, you could do something physical to take your mind off of it, to keep yourself occupied. I can't do that. And I can't clear my mind to push through the physical part. So I basically had all my coping mechanisms taken from me. So it's like I have to sit here and just suffer.
Well, I think not only that's within yourself, but when you try to explain to friends or acquaintances or people that you meet on the street, what's the response by others to what you're going through?
Well, anybody that'll talk to me about it or ask me what's going on with me, because they've noticed I'm even physically, I've lost like 35 pounds in the last 4 months. And I tell them what's going on. And most people don't understand the tinnitus part of it because they just think it's ringing, because they don't understand the volume of it or how debilitating. But when they all hear it, the first thing they think is, that would drive me crazy. And that's usually the last thing you want to hear from somebody when you have it. But everyone at my job is worried about me. All the guys that I work with, they're like, what's going on with you? Because you can physically see I'm just physically worn down, and just my demeanor. I was a very open, outgoing person. I like to joke with people. I'm a people person. I like to talk, and I would just be quiet to myself and just kind of pulled back from everything. So when I tell them what's going on with me, they're shocked. A lot of people, they're like, really, that happened from that? And I'm like, it could be the only thing. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not all these symptoms. I can see one thing maybe happening to you out of nowhere, but not all these symptoms. And to hear from other people.
That's a good point. Does anybody, how many people, what percentage of people, or do you get reactions like, oh, don't tell any, my wife got some pushback because she took the shot in January, and say, well, don't say anything to anybody. It'll spread vaccine hesitancy, and keep it quiet, or oh, come on, it's just anxiety. Or do you get any of that from anybody?
In the beginning, more from, I would say, the medical field. Like some of the doctors that I spoke to were like, I don't think it's that. I really highly doubt it's that. More people that I talk to, I guess, because of a lot of the people I speak to know me, so they can see how different I am right now. Or more or less, I think they're shocked, but they're also scared that they have gotten the shot already, and is this going to happen to them? I do know one other guy at my job that had tinnitus once before. Hey, had it in one ear, and since he got the shot, he also has the vision problem, and he got tinnitus in his other ear. And he got it about a month after me. But it hasn't stopped anybody from getting shots around me because I work in a school district. So it's pushed. It's really pushed big time to get everyone back, to get everything back to normal, which really isn't normal, but to pushback on it from people. I think they're more shocked, but I don't know if they're taking me as seriously. Maybe they are to my face, but as far as it doesn't seem to be affecting their lives any. They're going on as they were before.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Is if you're on the table, it's minor surgery. If I'm on the table, it's major surgery, right? And so people are living their lives, and it's hard to understand when you're on the table and everybody else is outside the operating room living their lives.
I mean, I could understand it to a point, because before this, I was such a healthy person. I never had a medical issue. I had to go, I'd say, well, how long ago was that? I think in October, I had a little outpatient surgery. When I went to the doctor, when they were admitting me, they couldn't believe that I was on no medication. And when they took my blood pressure, how low my blood pressure was so great, my pulse was in the 50s. And they asked if I was a runner, or if I did. I said, I'm active. I'm not a runner or anything. But they couldn't believe. They actually brought another doctor over to look at my chart to see, because they're like, I'm 45 years old and I don't take medication for anything. And now every doctor I go to wants to give me some medication. Try this, try that. And I'm so hesitant to try anything because I took this shot and now I'm like this, that it scares me. Even if there's a chance that it could help something, I've got a phobia now of taking medication.
Wow.
But like I said, when I talk to people, they're shocked, but they're going on with their lives.
Right. Yeah.
My close friends will check in on me, because they're worried about me and my family. But even, like my in-laws, I had spoken about earlier, they both got COVID and got over it, and they both got the shots and they're both fine. But I try and speak to them about it, and they don't understand either. Until it happens to you, you don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, or unless you're close to somebody, but even then, it's like, it's not you. So if you could, if I could line some chairs up before you, and you're standing there, and you can tell these people in these chairs, and the people in the chairs are government officials, the medical, CDC, FDA, doctors, the media, whoever it is in those chairs, and they were sitting there and they were listening to you, what would you tell them?
I would say that we need to slow down what's going on and really take a look at how this is all being rolled out, because there's people that are being hurt and we're being brushed aside like we're not existing, because they just want to keep giving shots. They just want to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And that's fine and dandy, but people should be able to have a choice. They need to have all the data and all what is going on to make an informed decision. I didn't have all the data when I made my decision. Maybe it would have been different if I would have had all the data beforehand. But yeah, you can't just brush everybody aside. We're here. We're hurting. People need treatment, or they need people to be taken seriously. And that we're all here. We just want to get better. We're not trying to slow anything down or trying to stop people from being vaccinated. That's your own choice. We made our choice, and we're all we're sick from it. We just want help. More or less, it's in politics, it has nothing to do with it really, or how we feel. We're sick. But unfortunately, politics are involved with everything.
That is the tenor of the day. If there's anything, Donald, that you could that you want to say, is there anything you want to say to fellow travelers in this desert that are watching, trying to connect or to know they're not going crazy? Or is there anything else you want to say as we finish this interview up?
You have to try and hang in there. It's so super tough, and you're never going to go anything as tough as this, through something like this in your life. I shouldn't say that completely, because a lot of people do go through a lot of very bad things. But if you haven't ever had an issue before this, and this is your first major issue, like someone like me, you just have to keep pushing, because you don't know where the end is going to be. it could end up great. Everything can go away. We don't know. But, if we're going to bring light to this type of stuff, hopefully something will happen and someone will help us. Like what you guys are doing. It's, really hopefully pushing stuff out there. And we just have to hold on. You really don't have any other choice. You hold on for your family, for your friends, and for others, so that maybe this won't happen to somebody else.
Well, thank you for sharing and taking the time today, Donald, and for being transparent and for speaking out.
I have no problem with that. Thank you so much for listening and for doing what you're doing.